Hi guys! So recently I had a moment of weakness and I bought a couple of new planners, which obviously is probably the last thing that I should be doing considering the amount of planners I already have, but you know me, I love to buy planners. So I was really curious about this one because I've seen it in only a couple of places on YouTube. Planner Girl 777 has a review of it, which I'll link down below. And Miss Vicky B mentioned this a couple of years ago in a video that she did looking at all different kinds of mostly bound planners, which I'll link below as well. But you don't see it very often on YouTube. And I was curious about it. And when I saw that it was on Amazon Prime, I was like, okay, that's it. And I crumbled. One of the things that I was curious about is that it's partly in Korean, and I love planners in different languages, so I'm always a sucker for that. And another thing is that it looks really cute. It's kind of a kawaii sort of theme. So let's get into it. On Amazon in the UK at the moment, these are available in a variety of different colors. I like this one best because I always like blue, but there's like I think a cream one and like maybe pink and possibly yellow, and there are a whole bunch of different ones. I don't know what it's like on Amazon US, but I would assume that it's probably something similar. And I think Planner Girl 777 said that they're also available on AliExpress. So the first thing about this, which is kind of funny, is the size. It's like almost a B6, but not quite. So you can see it's almost exactly the same size as this A6 Fodori. So not as the actual A6 planner, but as the Fodori, which is a bit bigger. So if we compare it to my A6 Hobonichi, you can see that it's quite a bit bigger. So I thought, okay, it's probably B6, but this is, I believe, an actual B6 size. This is a Paper Blanks diary, and you can see that it's a little bit smaller than that. And then if we compare it to A5, this is my cousin. So obviously the cover is a little bit bigger than A5, but it's enough to give you the general idea. It's quite a bit smaller than that. So if you wanted to put this in a cover, that might be an issue because it's a really odd in-between kind of size. I don't think that's such a problem because it comes with this cover, but you know, often we like to put things in our own, you know, even more awesome covers that we have acquired in various places. So that's just something to keep in mind, but it does have this very tough, durable, kind of patterned faux leatherish sort of cover, but it's not like a really luxurious faux leather. It feels very plasticky. And this is actually something that in retrospect I feel a bit bad about. I wasn't really sure what this cover was made out of and I didn't think too much about it, but I think it's, you can see on the inside here it has this kind of PVC looking plastic, and so I feel a little bit bad about that because I sort of try to avoid that, especially for planners that if it comes with a yearly planner and you can't just you can't use the same cover over and over again. And as far as I know, I can't see a way just to buy the insert, which then would be okay because you could keep using this cover year after year. But I'm getting ahead of myself because I still have to show you more about the cover. So it says Molang Diary, and it has this little character, which I guess is Molang. I don't know what Molang is, but it's like a little character that reappears over and over again. So in my head, it's called Molang, but I don't know if it actually is or if Molang means something different. And it has stitching on the side, and it's got this kind of cross-hatching sort of texture, so it feels a little bit textured. Like I said, it doesn't really feel leathery, you know, compared to, say, my Hobonichi cover or any of the other faux leather covers that you've seen me show. It doesn't feel like that. It feels quite plasticky, but that's okay. And then on the side it says Molang Diary, and then on the back it has the little character, and it says copyright molang.yoon. So when you open it, as you saw, you have this plastic folder here, and there's also a little pocket here, and this pocket is the perfect size for a credit card. So this is my Paper Chase Rewards card, and that fits perfectly in there. Then obviously you can also use this as a pocket for storing things. This is the pocket that the notebook fits into. And if you take this out, it's absolutely unfinished. So this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I think I was kind of thinking that it would be more like the Hobonichi where it has a cover, but you know, if you took it out you could use it independently. But this one I mean, I guess you could, but it really just looks like completely unfinished cardboard. Like, this is pretty thick and it's kind of glossy, but I think it would get marked up really easily because it's very shiny and smooth. So it sort of feels like you can sort of see a little bit of, like, there's some lines in it already just sort of from how it came. So I don't think that this would last very long on its own, and it doesn't really look that, you know, it doesn't look like the sort of thing you just want to carry around on its own. And then the binding is totally exposed. So you can see the stitching, and you can see where the bookmark is inserted, which I think is kind of cool, but not necessarily something that you would, you know, want to carry around on its own. So we will put it back in the cover. And then once you, probably I shouldn't have taken it out. So sorry about this. You have to see this terrible stationery massacre. Okay, so once you get it back in the cover, it has this like kind of cream end page, which is pretty thick. As you can see, if you're reckless like me and you take it out, you can see that this actually is made out of 2 layers that come apart, and the inside is just cardboard. So I would recommend leaving it in here. And then it says version 3, and I can't read Korean, so it says something in Korean, and it has a little picture of the character. The paper is kind of smoothish, slightly cream color. If we compare it to my A6 Hobonichi, you can see that it's a little bit creamier. I think that's hopefully showing up on camera. Like, the Hobonichi paper is reasonably white, and this is kind of creamy, but not quite as creamy as, say, the Weeks. Let's see, for comparison. If you can see the difference between that, the Weeks is a little bit creamier, if that's any help. Then you have a 2016-2017 diary. So I've seen different things in the comments on Amazon when I ordered this. Some people said that they were still getting 2015-2016, but I ordered this a couple of weeks ago and it came with 16-17. And the reason this is significant is because the planner is otherwise undated. So this is something that I actually don't really understand in general about undated planners. If the planner is undated, then I don't understand why they often put in this yearly overview that's dated, because, like, say I didn't use this until the end of 2017, which is possible given how many planners I have, then this would be useless. So, as you know, in general, I don't like undated planners. So maybe I just like don't kind of appreciate the logic because I don't like get the whole undated planner mindset. But I just think as long as it's, you know, if it's undated, then like why put this in? Because this kind of seems like it limits it a little bit. It's like if you're going to put this in, I would rather have the whole thing be dated. But anyway, that's just me. In terms of the design, I really like this. I think it's very cute. So both 2016 and 2017 kind of have this like almost hand-drawn look to them. And there are different colors on here. So you've got a little bit of color for the molang, or the little creature. And then you also have some like leaves and these little kind of spots of color. It's all green. And then the Sundays are in red. And also, I guess, holidays. It looks like, so like this Wednesday is in red, and this Tuesday, and that Friday, the 1st of January. So I'm assuming this must be Korean national holidays probably, or some kind of international holidays that are in red. Interestingly, it's a Sunday start. I had never seen that except for a North American planner, so that was interesting to me. And the names of the month are spelled out in caps, and they're also in this kind of handwritten font, which is quite nice. So I think it's a really nice design. I like the layout. So it's not like I object to the fact that there's a yearly calendar in here. I just think it's a little bit odd, and it's obviously not something specific to this planner because you see that a lot on undated planners. So I guess it must be helpful, but I just think why if the rest of it's undated. So then we get to a spread which I really like. This is a vertical monthly spread, and so you've got the whole year from January to December. Again, the same kind of handwritten caps font, which I really like. And then you've got from 1 to 31, also in the kind of handwritten font. I'll just bring this a little bit closer so that you can see it better. And then you have a red line every 5 days. I'm not really sure why it's every 5 days, because you would sort of expect it to be every 7 days, you know, like so that every week is blocked off. But maybe, well, I guess because it's undated. See, I can't really get my head around undated calendars, undated planners. I guess you don't necessarily know where the weeks start and end if it's undated. You can't predict. So I guess maybe that every 5 days is just to give you something to some way to divide it. But that is a little bit odd to me. If anybody has an idea why it's every 5 days, let me know. So yeah, you've got this red line, and then the rest of the lines for the days are dotted. And then down here you've got 26 to 31, so it's a bigger chunk. So this is a little bit funny to me. I'm not really sure why they did this, especially because being a little bit obsessive and very kind of like type A, I would like it all to be even. So the fact that you have this bigger group of days down here kind of bugs me, you see. But okay, I think that this is really useful because it can be used either for tracking or for a very like kind of bird's eye view sort of schedule, which is what I use the equivalent layout in my Hobonichi form, my work Hobonichi. And then you have another layout, which I also think is really cool. This kind of reminds me of what you see in the Erin Condren, you know, where they have like the 12 boxes and then they have some lines that you can use for different things. So the one in the Erin Condren, I think, doesn't actually label the 12 boxes as months. This one does. So you have 1 January, 2 February, 3 March, etc. And then it's got 8 lines, and they're kind of like, they're dotted and they look like they're hand drawn, which is kind of a nice effect. And then you have the little creatures doing different things every month, and there's this bit of color. It's not very strong color. It's kind of like a little bit muted. I feel like the palette is kind of sort of like browns and grays and like a kind of subdued palette, but it adds a little bit of color, so it's kind of nice because you don't see this very often in planners. It's really cute. And I think that this is good because this is something that you could use for anything from goals, which is the thing that most obviously springs to mind, to birthdays or, you know, particular appointments, holidays, that kind of thing. So I think that this is nice, and it has quite a lot of potential, and it's very flexible. And then you have a blank gridded spread. So it's like kind of broken lines, sort of like the Hobonichi, but again, they're sort of done in this handwriting font and they're in gray. So it's a really nice, like little, just kind of completely blank spread, and I love dot grids. So it's not actually dot grids like the Leuchtturm dot grids, it's just kind of like broken dots. Then we get to the first month, so it's got a 1 here, and it says healing theme in English, and then the rest of it is in Korean, which I really wish I could read. And then it's got like this little postage stamp design, which you'll see recurring throughout the whole thing. And then it has like kind of half the page blank, and then half the page has these sort of broken lines, which is nice because this kind of reminds me of the page that you get at the beginning of the month in the Hobonichis, where it kind of gives you a space to sort of write out whatever you want at the beginning of the month. So it could be like your sort of main to-do list for the month, you know, things you have to keep in mind for the month. Or again, like it could be goals or visions or just notes, whatever. So I like that. And then it goes into a month on 2 pages. So I think, despite the fact that it's undated, which kind of bugs me, and I would not be able to use this as my main planner for that reason, I really like the variety of options that they give you in terms of, you know, like the yearly overview, the vertical monthly, the little, you know, blank pages, the kind of goal boxes, and then this. Again, Sunday start, Sunday's in red, and this little postage stamp design here, and then you've got some space down the side for notes and the little creature here, and then again some little spots of color that are like leaves mostly, and this one looks like a spoon with leaves on it. I can't imagine that it's supposed to be that, but you would kind of expect it to be a tree, but it really looks like a spoon. So then you have boxes, which are, you know, like pretty decent considering the size of the planner. They're not gigantic, but if we compare it to the Hobonichi boxes, they are a bit bigger. This is the A6 Hobonichi, so if that gives you some kind of idea for comparison, you could fit not a huge amount in, but you could, you know, sort of put in essentials. for the month, and it has this little line here for you to write the date on. It doesn't say anywhere here that this has to be January, but because it starts with a 1, it's kind of like assuming that you'll start it in January, which seems a little bit funny to me. Again, if it's undated, you'd think it would be like totally undated, and they wouldn't put the 1 here, because like what if you started this in October? But you can ignore this. This is not even on the same page, so I guess it doesn't really matter. And these are not lined. So then after that, it goes into the weekly view. And then it has a little postage stamp again. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be, but that's what it looks like to me. I like that. I kind of feel like it has potential. I'm not sure exactly for what, but it seems like you could do something with that. And then it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think the idea is that you circle which week out of the month it is. That does not seem intuitively to me like something that I would find useful, because I never think of the weeks in that way. Like I never think, oh, this is week 3 of the month. Although I know that, you know, like when you have the little calendars, like down here when it has a little calendar, it circles, or maybe it's, no, sorry, it's only in the Cousin that has the weekly view, and the Hobonichi that does that. Like, you know, it circles which week out of the month it is, but I wouldn't find that very helpful to be like, oh yes, it's week 3 out of the month. But I don't know, maybe it would for a lot of people, and I just somehow am not used to thinking like that. Then this has a Monday start, and I really, really like this layout. This is like a vertical layout, but it's the vertical layout design that you don't see very often. I think Happy Scrappy in her inserts might have one like this, and So Much Crafting has one, and but you don't see it very often, and it's a shame because I think it's a really good layout. So you have, it goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And what I absolutely love about this is that Saturday and Sunday each have their own box, which is the same size as the other days. So yay, Molang, because as you know, I can't stand shared weekends. And then it has a little illustration up here, and it looks like the little kawaii creature is holding a flower, or like maybe, I don't know, it's like picking flowers and putting them in this bowl or something. I kind of like how these illustrations are a little bit funny and make you think of like what is exactly happening. So you don't really have a lot of space here for notes, which is kind of a downside, because normally, you know, I think one of the advantages of having each day in the week have the same amount of space is that then you get this extra box that you can use for notes. But this one is mostly taken up with the illustration. Then what I like in the daily spreads is so it has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. in the same kind of handwriting looking font, and it's all kind of grayish, which is also kind of nice. And then the line dividing these days from these days is red, and then Sunday is in red as well. So what I really like is that you have this lined space here. This is like, obviously seems like the classic top 3, although you wouldn't have to use it for that, but you could use it for meal planning, or I'm thinking about using this as a gratitude journal. I'll have a separate video on that discussing my latest planner dilemma. But I think it would be nice for like, yeah, either meal planning, top 3 checklist, or like 3 highlights of the day, or anything like that. And then it has this blank space down here, which is nice because if you wanted to decorate it, then the lines wouldn't get in the way, and you know, you could just use this for whatever you're using this for. So I think for something like a home planner, it would be nice because you could put appointments down here, and then you could like do the meal planning here. And yeah, every day is the same. So I think that that's a really nice layout, and would be, it's quite versatile. And I think it's a nice mix between like kind of giving you enough freedom that you could do whatever you wanted here, but then also having these lines. So it's a nice way to separate whatever you wanted to put up here is the focus or whatever, and then the rest of it. So that's how the weekly layouts look, and then every one has a different illustration, and it's like it kind of always keeps you guessing because you have this illustration here and then you have something else down here. See, it's different. This one has a little tea bag on top. It looks like a tea bag to me. And then this one, he's drinking the tea. So that's cool. And it gives you 5 per month. And then it starts over again with the next month, and it has the same layout as before. So here it says 2. So obviously this is not a big thing. If you started this in October, then, you know, you could either just cover this up with washi tape, or you could just ignore it because it's, you know, it's like the second month that you're using it. But it seems a little bit confusing to me how, again, like they've sort of limited it in that way. But anyway, and then you have your monthly spread, and then it goes back into the weeklies, and these are different again. So like if we compare week 1 of the previous month, which had the like little flower scene, or maybe it's artichokes, maybe he's peeling artichokes, and then this one is completely different, and there's like some flowers, and there's some flowers over there. So you really get a lot of variety here. And then again you have the 5 weeks, and then it goes into month 3. So I'll just kind of show you some of them. There he's sleeping, and some clouds. Oh, sleeping again with a book. This is like lots of different sleeping variations. Month 4. So I like how, like, you know, each month is really completely different with the illustrations. They don't seem to recycle any of the illustrations at all. He's got a friend. And so I think that's nice because, you know, every spread is going to be totally different. And I think that this is quite nice because it works either if you didn't want to decorate it at all, or if you did want to decorate it, there's quite a lot of scope for that here. Like you could easily put stickers in. And like I said, I like the fact that it's not lined because, I mean, except for this, because if you want to decorate, I think it's often nicer for it not to be lined. Oh, a salad. So the illustrations are really cute. It seems like every month there's a theme. So this theme is food, and then each of the pictures is some kind of food related thing. So the previous one we had was like different types of kind of sleep related pictures, and then this one looks like it's all kind of like nature themes, like out in the trees and acorns, dandelions. This one I think is music, so it's all like kind of different kinds of music themes. This one seems to be like traveling, so different sort of modes of transport. It's really funny. This one seems to be shopping. So I think that's really cool. I've never seen anything like this in a planner before. And that there are like little sunglasses up at the top there, and then also he's wearing sunglasses. He or she, I don't know. This one looks like maybe painting or a tube of toothpaste. I don't know what that is. Well, that surprised me. Dessert? Yeah, this is like a dessert themed one. So like macarons and various types of cake. So that's the end. So you get 12 months, and then you get notes. And so this is lined paper, it's dotted lines. Again, the same kind of gray handwritten sort of design. And then it says note and date up at the top here. And you get a good few, like maybe 5 or 6 of these. And then it has this feature which I don't understand. It has a whole bunch of paper with like designs on it, and I don't know what this is for, because I don't see how you could write on a lot of these. Like this one you could write on. This one, this one also, like it seems like it would be hard to read the writing on that. This one it would be impossible. That one I guess you could, but the designs really get in the way. So I like it, I just don't know what it's for. So this is just such a funny planner because it has all these features that I really just can't figure out, but they're kind of intriguing. I like it. It's nice. It just seems odd to me that you get so many of these pages. It's like scrapbooking paper almost, but it's just in the planner. So again, if anyone has an idea of what this is for, please let me know, because I don't know. And then there's this page which I assume is probably personal information. And it has a dot grid up here, and then it has another dot grid page with like the publication information on the back. And I did a pen test in here because this seemed like the perfect place to do it. So this is the Hobonichi pen. This is a 0.5 gel pen from a Happy Scrappy kit. It's from the company M&G. This is a Pilot Decimo Extra Fine. This is a Kaweco Student Extra Fine, so 2 fountain pens. Both extra fine because that's what I use, but they're very different because the Pilot Decimo is actually like 5 times finer than the Kaweco Student. And then a Pentel Energel 0.5. So you can see that, so the Hobonichi pen obviously is going to be fine because that's a ballpoint pen, and you know that seems like generally it's fine on any kind of paper. Then the 0.5 gel pen is also fine, which isn't a surprise. The Pilot Decimo extra fine, you can see that there's shadowing. I know it's kind of a bad position because it's got the publication information here, but this is the end of the pen test. So there's quite a bit of shadowing from the Pilot Decimo, which and is kind of like, so it's not that great. And then you can see below hand, right above where my finger is, that's the Kaweco Student. So not only shadowing, but quite a bit of bleed through. So not that fountain pen friendly. Then the Energel, there's a bit of shadowing. It's kind of hard to see because it's got the typing, the printing on the other side, but there is some shadowing, no bleed through, which I wasn't expecting from a gel pen. So I would say it's not really that fountain pen friendly. It's not terrible with the Pilot Decimo extra fine, but this is like by far the finest fountain pen that I have ever encountered. So I think most fountain pens will not be that fine. And not only is there shadowing and bleed through, but the writing, you can't really see it here, but like when I was writing with it, it kind of felt like it was sort of like bleeding into the paper, as in it didn't feel like it looks a lot thicker than it does when I write on, say, the Hobonichi or anywhere else that I've written with either of these fountain pens. It just like somehow expands onto the paper. I don't know how to explain it, but I would say it's not really that great for fountain pens. And then this is the back pocket. So you get a pen loop, and then you get this, you know, this sort of plastic, the back flap. And then it comes with 3 sticker sheets. So one is like these sort of, you know, deco stickers, like see-through deco stickers, which match the pattern of the paper. And then you get some of these little creatures on this one in all like different positions. And then here you have some numbers. So you could use this to date things, I guess, to date the months, but it's funny because it repeats. So you get like 1 to 12 like 4 or 5 times. So again, I don't know, like I feel like I'm being really stupid here. Like I would think that it would be more useful to have maybe 1 to 31 so that you could use them on the monthly spreads or something, but I guess then you would need a lot more stickers. So I'm not sure exactly what you're supposed to use these for, because the years, I mean, the months that, you know, that are kind of like interspersed already are labeled 1 to 12. So I don't know what you'd use this for, because you can't use it like for labeling the weeks. You can't, I don't know. So maybe I'm missing something. And then it's got some little pictures here. So all in the same style, very cute. And you can just put them in this back pocket here. And it also has one bookmark, this ribbon bookmark. So, and then that's the back. So overall, I'd say this is like it's a nice little planner. I think it has some pros, some cons. Like I said, personally, I wouldn't use this as a main planner because it would drive me crazy that it's undated, but I think that it would be really nice for a gratitude journal. Or the other thing I thought it would be good for is if you were doing like kind of, you know, sort of intensive meal planning where you're planning out all the meals of the day, you could write them up here, and then you could write the ingredients that you needed down here so that you wouldn't like get caught out planning things and then realizing you didn't have the ingredients for them. And then you could just check at the beginning of the week or whenever you did the meal planning to like make sure that you'd ordered everything that was on this list. I think it's quite a nice setup for that. So I've got a few different ideas of what to use this for, but I might have a competition because James has immediately fallen in love with it, and he thinks that it's like awesome and it's the greatest planner he's ever seen, aside from the Disc Agenda Manta, which he loves, but that's a lot bigger. So he might steal this from me, which would be fine with me too. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions about it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.